Hey YouTube, Fuzzleworth here, back with another video. All right, so the last video we had was an introduction to hitting. This is the second video, the part two of that, if you will. In the last video, we went over bat speed exercises that we can do to get better. Today is going to be more about the settings. So for beginners, I'm not sure what type of settings to use for hitting in MLB The Show 25. This is a great video for you to watch so that you can get better. So let's get into it. So we're here in custom practice. We're going to go into settings, gameplay. Okay, so we're going to start off with hitting interface options. Okay, now here's the thing. Listen, you can use any hitting interface that you want to. Okay, this video is for beginners who want to get better at hitting online. Okay, if you're an offline player, you do a lot of franchise, whatever, wrote to this show, listen, use whatever cameras, settings you want, whatever hitting interface you want. I'm just going to give you the recommendations. If you actually want to go online in Diamond Dynasty and get better and have a consistent outcome with your hitting, this video is for you, okay? But again, you can use any hitting interface you want. But what I'm going to talk about today is, listen, for hitting interface, there is only one. If you want to get better at this game and play Diamond Dynasty online and win, it's zone hitting. Okay, zone hitting is the best hitting interface because it gives you the most control of where you swing, along with your swing timing. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, for the hitting interface for zone. Okay, one of the things that you're going to need to do, okay, is you're going to have to decide your PCI, which is the plate coverage indicator. We'll talk a bit about that. I'll talk to you about the settings I use and all those types of things. We can also talk about hitting views. Okay, so let's start off with, let's talk about the camera view. Okay, so right now this is strike zone 2. Okay, again, I'm gonna tell you, listen, you can use whatever camera setting you want to. For me, strike zone 2 works the best for me. A lot of people are going to tell you, as far as cameras, that this is really the best one, the strike zone. Listen, I've alternated between the two. I've used strike zone, I've used strike zone 2. For whatever reason, strike zone 2 for me, it works the best. I feel the most comfortable here. The reason why why I would say strike zone 2 or strike zone, is because this is going to give you the best view of the release point of the pitcher, of the ball coming out of his hand, and then you placing your PCI where you need to. One thing I'll tell you about, this is regular strike zone. You kind of sit closer and a little bit higher on the strike zone, and I'll tell you, in this particular mode, I would say if you're having trouble hitting fastballs online, high fastballs, try strike zone and see if it helps you. It's helped me in the past when I was having problems with that, but like I said, nowadays I'm really just used to strike zone 2. This is where I feel the most comfortable. Okay, but I would tell you, one of those two cameras is going to be what you want for hitting. Okay, it's just going to give you the best view. You start getting out into these, you can see, like, let's just say, like we do retro or something. Like, it's cool, you can see your player and all that stuff, but see how weird it is? You're trying to see where the ball's coming in and it's also going to mess with your timing. Okay, so I'm going to back out of that. So again, I would tell you either strike zone or strike zone 2 for your camera. Okay. The next thing that we're going to get into is, let's talk about PCI, so your plate coverage indicator. Okay, it's really a personal preference as far as what you want to use for your PCI. I'll give you a suggestion a little bit here if you're a complete beginner, not sure where to start. I'll start off by showing you what I use. So for PCI center, I use diamonds. For PCI inner, I use wedge. And for the outer, I have nothing. I like it being yellow. That's just what I'm used to. I've been playing this game since before you had a choice of what color you could do for the PCI. It's always been yellow, so I keep it there. And that's my opacity setting, just like the transparency of the PCI itself. So take a look at this so you guys can just see what it looks like. So you can see the diamonds and then the wedge inner on there. And this is just what I'm most comfortable with for mine. But literally, you can use any combination. You can use no outer, no inner, and then the center. You know, you've got all types of different options. So it's really whatever you feel comfortable with. Like, I've been playing this game for a long time. This is the setting that I always use for my PCI. But basically, your PCI is wherever you put this, along with your swing timing, is where you're going to put the sweet spot of the bat on the ball. And if you center it up, piece it up, as we all know, you get a perfect. You know, and that's the best way that you can hit the ball. So again, this is why zone hitting interface with the PCI is really the best option if you're playing online, because it allows you to control where you swing your bat. Okay, so that's my settings. So let's go to what I would recommend if you don't know where to start as far as a PCI. I would tell you to use, instead of my settings, I would use the bat as your center and nothing on the inners and on the outers on this, and then whatever color you want the bat to be and whatever that stuff. The reason being is because no matter what hitting difficulty you're on, this indicator doesn't change. Does not change at all. The size of the center dot and the bat does not change, no matter if you're on rookie difficulty or you are on GOAT difficulty. This indicator stays the same. And why I would recommend that for a beginner is because you want consistency. The smaller your PCI gets in the center, the more difficult it is to see and use as a frame of reference when you're tracking pitches, at least in my personal opinion. So I would tell you, this has a very big advantage, I would say, if you were starting off learning zone hitting with a PCI. If you can learn this and start with this, I just feel like you're going to have a very consistent experience and a frame of reference when pitches are coming in, okay? I tried at the beginning of this year to use that because it has that advantage. I just can't get used to it. I'm used to what I'm used to. I've played this game too long on those certain settings, and it's making it difficult for me to pick up the ball, so I went back to my setting. And just as an example here, I'll show you. So there's my PCI, right? If I change the settings, the difficulty, and I go, whoops, change it from all-star, like let's just go to GOAT real quick. Not only does you'll see my PCI change here in a second, not only does the bat speed, the pitch speed change, but look how small my PCI is. That's my outer and my inner, okay? It looks freaking tiny, okay? Like, I can still hit the ball with it because I'm used to it, but you see what I mean, right? You can see the advantage if you use the bat inner for your PCI. You're not going to run into that problem of like having this tiny PCI on the difficulties that you're on, okay? So just a suggestion there, okay? All right, so we've talked about camera angles. We've talked about the PCI, what type to use. Again, like I said, find whatever works best for you. But I gave you a few suggestions there, what I use and then what I would use if I was a beginner. Okay, so the next part is, where do you start your PCI when you're doing it? Okay, so here's the deal. Again, totally up to preference for you of what works best, what gives you the best ability to track the ball and hit the pitches that you want to hit. For me, I always start off on the inside because I don't want to get beat by a fastball. I'm looking middle in for fastballs, and then I'm adjusting to everything else based on the situation, whatever the at bat, the pitch count, whatever the situation is, and I'm going off of that, right? I can't tell you what works best for you, only you're going to know. The one thing I will tell you is there's a lot of different ways to do it. Another way that people do it, and I've done in the past too, is move your PCI up depending on the handedness of the pitcher, and you can just track the ball in from the pitcher's hand. It's a very good strategy. Okay, I've kind of gotten away from it over the years, but it's a very good way if you want to start. You just literally track the pitches and you decide, okay, if a pitch is in a certain location, you're going to swing, and if it's not, it's not. That's a very good way. But I've seen there are all different types. Some people start at the bottom, looking for middle to low pitches because a lot of people like to throw those, and then they react to inside up. The one thing I'm going to tell you as a beginner, I wouldn't recommend that unless you have a super fast bat and a really good PCI control. Otherwise, I feel like you're just going to be missing the high and inside fastballs, and your PCI is going to be all over the place, and you're going to be slamming it, and what we call slamming it, where you end up in a corner like over compensating on a pitch and missing your PCI location and having a bad location. Okay, so but it's whatever works for you. Like I said, if you want to start off, you can just track the pitches from the pitcher's hand. Okay, that's one way to go. Another thing that I would recommend if you're just starting off, something I wish that I would have trained myself to do, is if you can, start the PCI in the middle. Like a little bit movement, maybe up or inside, down, whatever feels comfortable, just to get your stick out from the center just slightly. And the reason being for this is the amount of this game in batting with the PCI for zone hitting, you want to minimize movement of your PCI. The smaller movements you can make, the more accurate that you'll be, and it'll especially help you on the higher difficulties when your PCI is super small. So I would recommend, if I was just starting out, because your motion to get to any pitch inside the strike zone is the same, if that makes sense. And your frame of reference, like visually, it's the same too. Like if the ball is up and in, I'm going to move my PCI up and in from the middle. Okay? If it's low and away, I move my thumb low and away. And it's not that big of a movement. As opposed to if I'm starting up here and I'm tracking a pitch, I'm going to have to move my PCI a lot more. If I'm starting at the bottom and moving up, I'm going to have to move it a lot more. And there's way more potential for me to slam my PCI and miss the pitch. That is what I would say if I had to do it over again. If I was doing it, that is what I would do. I would recommend starting in the center and knowing where you're looking for pitches at. And based on the tendency of your opponent, where you're looking for a pitch and where you think you're going to move your PCI when you get the pitch that you want. Okay? So, with that said, that's kind of what I wanted to discuss as far as settings and things like that. If you guys have any questions, put them in the comments for this video. And I would just ask, if you're watching these videos, please hit like. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. You know, I want to continue to gain popularity of doing these videos. So I appreciate your guys' help. Please subscribe, like the videos. But other than that, you know what? Comment in the comments for the video what you're going to use as far as the hitting interface, what's working for you. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Okay?